At the Lamplighter Motel, you can get away from your problems. So take a trip down the road at the Lamplighter Motel. At the Lamplighter. At the I wish I had someone to sing this song with me. If only there was somebody else who, maybe Nathan can help me sing this song. Let's see. Hey, Nathan,
How's
what's
it
up,
going?
buddy?
Hey,
How you doing?
good, good, good.
Hey, do you know the words to the Lamplighter Motel?
I do now.
At the
The
Lamplighter
Lamplighter
Motel,
Motel. You
you can
can
get.
get.
Okay, this is too hard, Nathan, because I feel like we're on, what's it called? Robo. I feel like we're robo tripping right now. We'll wait until we're in person. We'll do it together. We'll
Okay.
have a rousing. We'll get the whole crowd pumped up about the Lamplighter Motel.
Woo!
I'd like to welcome Nathan to the show. Nathan has been on the show like so much, or been on the channel so many times at this point.
It's my favorite show to be on.
Oh man, that's what an honor. I mean, we did the thing. Oh, God, what was it? There was a Genreblast like Zoom hangout room, and we were talking about. That's right, two wild and crazy guys. We were talking about like movies, and that turned into a thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did some shows. We were just reminiscing about how there's 2.5 hours of Nathan and I talking beat by beat about the film Nightmare Alley.
Yes, that was so enjoyable. We got really deep on that one.
We went so deep. I mean, cavity search deep. What's up, Lizzie Graves? How are you tonight? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, I wanted to have Nathan on properly in the sense to talk about some of the things that Nathan does. Nathan's always come on here to talk about movies and things, but who is Nathan? What does Nathan do? Why does he do what he does? And we're going to find that out today. But let's start off right off the bat. Let's ask him the question that we ask every guest on the Pizza Punk show. And Nathan, you don't have to answer it immediately. Think about, you already know the question. He's thinking about his answer as I'm killing time here, speaking words. But Nathan, is pizza punk? And if it is punk, why is it punk? And if it's not punk, why is it not punk? It's a subjective question. There's no real wrong way to answer it.
I think pizza is punk depending on what toppings you have on it. I think it can go either way. It's all about the intent of the pizza. It can absolutely be punk if it wants to be punk. That's my answer.
I like that. And I like that pizza is sentient in a way. It can do things that it wants to do or that it doesn't want to do. That works for me.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to stick with that.
I feel a little rusty right now. Like I'm out of I used to go live every night and like
you're like Howard Hughes in his screening room, just finishing this movie. Let me see your fingernails. Show me your piss jars.
Oh no, I bite my nails there. They are not long and haggard the way you would expect some Hughesian nails to be.
I should be interviewing you because you have just completed a film pretty much. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. We both have completed films, and that's amazing. We both did it.
Yeah, well, you directed, I produced. As different hats.
It's true, but listen, when you're trying to bring, ultimately, filmmaking is this. Tell me if you agree or disagree, Nathan. It is taking either an idea that's in your head or somebody else's head and trying to manifest it into existence in some way, shape, or form or semblance.
Yeah, I do agree. I think producing is much more of being a manager, managing things, and I think a director is definitely much more of the artistic side of the spectrum as far as making films. And I don't think either one is lesser than the other. It was a different experience for me. This is the first time I produced a feature film. And it was definitely an eye-opening experience. Myself and Samantha Kolesnik, we both produced this together. And there's,
Sam.
we were kind of support system for each other on the phone. Like, God, like, why are we doing this? But then we remember that we're working with like three of the best dudes around that I've met through Genreblast, through other film festivals. Jeremy Herbert, Christopher G. Moore, and John Hale, and they've been busting their butts to get this movie ready. Not only for Genreblast next week, but to send out to film festivals, because we've got deadlines we got to meet for film fests next week too. So they're killing it. They're absolutely busting their humps to get this thing done. And Landon Knobloch is doing the music for Worst Laid Plans, the overarching theme for the film as a whole. And everybody's just working their tails off to get this thing done, just like you are. So it's that rush, that cram time. You know what I mean? It's insane.
We're all in the trenches together, parallel, and in just deep in the shit. And it's it really it's I don't know. I don't want to use the word fraternal pertaining only to men, but I don't know what the word for that includes everybody. It's
camaraderie.
I guess. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, though.
I know what you're trying to say.
An all-encompassing word for fraternity is what is, I feel, seeing everybody else parallel to me doing their stuff.
Fellowship, but I don't want to sound too religious.
No, I like, I use the word fellowship a lot. I like the word fellowship. I don't think it gets used enough.
No.
I never think of it as a religious word. That's so weird to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's got to be a word like a gender neutral word for fraternity or sorority. I guess I don't know what that is.
You understand what I'm trying to say, though.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, yes, it is. That is an AA word. Very true. A 12-step recovery word, fellowship. Very used often, and. Yeah, so it all ties together. But listen, let me ask you this, because we're kind of going all out of sorts here. Let me start with this. What I don't even know this question. So I can honestly ask, and you can tell me what's up, Ron? Ron, you came at just the right time. Rakefet knows those words well. Okay, cool. Freaking, how did Genreblast get started? What is the genesis of Genreblast? Why did you start it? And I feel like, wasn't there like a crew of you guys, like you all were going to festivals and then you're like, we're all going to start our own festivals or something? Or do I have that all wrong?
Well, me and my buddy Chad, we are life bros. Chad Farmer.
Chad.
We went to school together at Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. It was a trade school for media, graphic design, film, television, all that stuff. 2 year, one of those 2-year schools, you pay out the ass to go, and you're lucky if you get a job afterwards.
Yeah.
The best thing to come out of that is my friendship with Chad. So we kind of started hanging out. We had the same taste in movies and all that stuff. And after we get out of film school, we're like, oh, we got to meet up and make a film. And through a mutual friend who was going to produce a film, we were going to make a feature film, and it was a debacle. It was an absolute debacle. Just a terrible movie. Just not even like so bad it's good. Like, let's show it and we'll get a laugh at it. It's just not good. It's just boring. It's just not well done. So after that, we were like, well, we still want to keep doing this. So like, what do? We started going to film festivals just as friends, checking out movies. We're obsessed with movies. Went to a whole bunch of film fests and started making short films together, back to the drawing board kind of thing. So we started making short films. They started getting into festivals, and then we're like, we're pretty good at this, but we also know what we like at Film Fest. Maybe we should make a film festival. What's stopping us from doing our own festival? And the answer is nothing. So I looked at a local movie theater in Culpeper, Virginia, that just got renovated. It was a state theater, had been around since, Gone with the Wind. And it was just recently renovated and $1 million makeover. And it had a huge 400 seat theater. And we were like, let's do this festival here. And we kicked it off in 2016. That was the only year it wasn't at the Alamo Drafthouse, was in 2016. Had a bunch of people that came that everybody knows very well now. Samantha Kolesnik, Jeffrey Howe, Ryan LaPlante, Wendy Keeling, Cameron McCasland, Jeffrey Calhoun. There was a ton of people that are Genreblast regulars now. Elias Rodriguez, a lot of the GB originals, Jason Butarin, they were all there, and they helped us and they supported us, and everybody kept coming up to us and going, "How long has this festival been running?" And we're like, "Oh, this is our first year." And they're like, "Get out of here, like seriously, like this is like a 5-year, 10-year fest." And we're like, "Nah, well, we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we feel like we should be doing," because we've been to a bunch of different festivals that ran the gamut of good and bad and indifferent. We were at festivals where we never saw the festival director or anybody representing the festival, and there were just movies running in a hotel room, like a hotel ballroom or whatever, and there was nobody, like the volunteers had no idea what they were doing other than just playing the movies, and we're like, why are we even here? Like, this is embarrassing. And you would meet other filmmakers who got bamboozled into coming to this festival too, and you would kind of commiserate with each other and go support each other's movies, and that's how we made a lot of friends. And that's how I got Genreblast started, is going to all these other festivals and telling people about my fest in 2016. And they all showed up, they all submitted stuff, and they all showed up, and we built a happening. We built a community out of nothing that now is doing pretty good. And, word of mouth counts for a lot with film festivals. And everybody's, is always like, "I've always heard great things about Genreblast." And I'm like, well, that's good. That's good to hear. I hope nobody's talking shit about Genreblast. We try to treat everybody pretty fairly. So
I'm going to speak to my experience. My first time at Genreblast, I met Nathan in 2017. We met at the Nightmares Film Festival. I feel like for my entry into this world was there. And a lot of those people I ended up seeing the very next year at Genreblast. But I remember we were all eating at a table together. We were all like, and that was my first real festing experience. That's right. Rakefet, that's where we met as well. And we were all like eating like food together and whatnot. Like, so many things happened there. And then I remember the next year, I don't know if it was with, right. Yes. Vanita was there as well. What was the name of her movie? Her recent short that played at Genreblast was the dinner movie with Sean Young.
Who Wants Dessert? I think.
Yes, Who Wants Dessert? Thank you. Vanita's doing a new film right now. She's got a Kickstarter campaign. Go check it out.
Yes.
We all kind of like met there, and then I remember, I don't know, we were talking. Something happened. You were like, "Hey man, you should come to Genreblast." And the general stigma with film festivals. And here's the thing. I understand this. I totally get it. I'm in that boat sometimes as well. We're all doing this independently. Resources are finite. And if you are going to travel to a place, you have to have a reason to travel to said place, whether it's because you have a movie or whether it's because you're networking. You have to have a good reason to make a trip. And I feel like, unfortunately, because of, resources, it stops people from going to more festivals and hanging out even more often than maybe they would. And I don't know what it was. I'm in New York, and this Genreblast is in Virginia. And I think you were just like, "Hey man, you just kept saying like, 'Hey man, you should just come.'" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I just went. I didn't have any movies playing. I drove all the way out to Virginia.
I had you host a panel. You were hosting.
Oh, that's what it was. All right. Maybe you had me host a panel.
You hosted to make your own. I like to get people involved. If I'm going to invite somebody to a festival, I like my ulterior motive for Genreblast is just to get people to come out and hang out. That's it. Like, I see cool people at other festivals and online, and I'm like, that person would probably fit in at Genreblast, and I try to get them to come and hang out, and that's pretty much it. It's just a hangout. That's all it is for filmmakers and for people who love movies.
And that's literally, that's what happened, man. I just went down. I met so many people. I had such a good time. We were all shooting the shit, chewing the cud. Just a great experience. And I think this is my fourth trip out there now. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. There was 2018 and then 2020.
2020, yeah.
And then and then February. This is the third time.
Oh no, you were here 2020. You were 2018 and then 2021, I think.
2021.
And then you were here
and then February.
Genreblast, yes.
And then now 2022. So this is my fourth trip out to Virginia.
You're a veteran now.
It's crazy. I just never thought I'd spend so much time out in Virginia. Now Jack, my buddy Jack, he's all about it too. So this is Jack's third trip out there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And here's the thing that I love about Genreblast, to speak to what Nathan's saying. It really is like, there's no air, there's no pretension. It's very communal. It's very inclusive. It really does foster community. And, it's not something that obviously you can do every day, but it's like you get to, for once a year, you come, you see people face to face, you talk shop, and you get your batteries recharged, and you go back out there and do your thing.
We're like a casino for film festivals. Everything happens at the Alamo. You don't need a clock. You don't need any windows. We give you food and drink, and the hotel is literally next door, so you can just shuffle over there and crash. And I mean, literally, you can go and take a nap. It's a 2-minute walk back to your hotel. You can go take a nap and come back and finish the rest of the movies. It's perfect for people that are obsessed with movies. Like if Chad and I did not start Genreblast and someone else started Genreblast, this would be our festival that we would never miss. This is our idea of a festival. Is, some people go to festivals and they just sit in the lobby and they talk and they chit chat, and that's fine. They like to network and schmooze and drink. That's all well and good. I did a lot of that at Nightmares. I was completely tanked at that festival because I just sat in that VIP lobby upstairs and I just kept drinking Bloody Marys. I was just wasted. But that was my networking. But like,
yeah,
when Chad and I go to festivals, like we went to Fantastic Fest, we watched like 20 films in like 4 days because we're just obsessed with movies. We don't watch as much as we used to because we got kids now and all this other stuff. But back in the day, it would be nothing to be on Letterboxd and like we'd log like 600 films for a year.
Wow.
We're not messing around. We would try to keep up with each other. So Genreblast is our idea of what we would want to go to for a film festival. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, and it grows like that. And then you decided to, well, two things kind of happened. So Nathan, okay, so the work that I've seen Nathan make film-wise, I've only seen 2 of Nathan's films. Nathan did a film, God, Nathan, don't kill me. I'm trying to remember the name of the film, but it starred a character named Mr. Turtleneck, played by Nathan.
What's for Dinner? Did you see that at Nightmares?
Yeah, I saw that at Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you, oh shit, we lost Nathan. Hold on, he's back. Oh, there he is. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, right. Mr. What's for Dinner? And you played a character, Mr. Turtleneck, sophisticated guy, wears a blue turtleneck, likes to eat people, drinks red wine. Something I forget. There was a person, he's on a dog leash on him, just weird, wonderful weirdness.
An escaped cannibal.
Right, that's what it was.
Asylum. And the refined cannibal was disgusted that the escaped cannibal didn't have any manners.
Right. That's what it was. There was.
Yeah, a guy in his basement he was shaving pieces off of, and he was annoyed that he had to go back down there and get another piece because he gave the other piece to the escaped cannibal.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's Chad's point of contention, is that you get to see his butt in that movie. And he's never let me live that down. Like, he always reminds me of that. I let you see my butt. Like, I let everybody see my butt in that movie. I was like, you owe me. So I'm like, all right, I got you.
Listen, you do what you gotta do. And that's it. You just, sometimes you got to show your butt, sometimes not. And that's right. Just the way it rolls. And then the other thing I saw of Nathan's, he did I really, the dialogue came out really good in this one. It was like a Bigfoot. It was like a found footage Bigfoot thing. And
the Big D. Yeah.
Yes. And the dialogue is wonderful. It's so natural and it feels very genuine. The humor is like dry in the best way. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think you were kind of like, you were dipping your toe in the water to see how people reacted to it, right?
Like a test screening, basically. So I've got a new cut. It's going to show at Genreblast on Sunday night. I've got a new cut.
Awesome.
Out of competition, obviously. It's like, I think the original cut was like 19 minutes. This one's about 13. I cut out like the end because it just wasn't getting. It doesn't get a lot of laughs compared to the first part of it. So kind of when she busted on Bigfoot and it's like, give me my money. And he's like, I don't have any money. And that basically just ends right there.
I like all the reveal stuff. I like the way that it slowly unfolds at the end. It played well in the screening that you did. I thought it played really well all the way through. But
I was surprised it got way more laughs than I thought it would. So, but Brian Nuri, I want to give a shout out to Brian Nuri. That guy can act. Like he played the crazy conspiracy guy, and I'd never seen him act before, and he killed it. He did that scene out by the trailer in like 2-3 takes and one shot, and he was amazing. And Reagan does a great job as an actor too.
Reagan was great. She was awesome. Reagan is Nathan's sister.
Yeah, that don't really act normally, and they were all really good. So
you know what?
Chad was Bigfoot, by the way. Chad was Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, I was trying to remember where was Chad in that.
Michael Merchant's in there too. He's great.
You know what's funny? I have found that I like to work with non-actors, and in general, or sorry, wrong word. I like to work with people who don't normally act, because I think anybody can, act if you put them in a role. You just, and
they weren't really playing against type either, to be honest with you. It was just a tweak of their normal personality, just a little bit more abstract. So it's easier to pull off than you're trying to get them to be a method actor for some crazy role, and they don't have any experience doing that. Then that's a recipe for failure. But
that's what you do with someone who is not traditionally an actor. You you take what you love about them, and then you lean into that in a fictional way, and you can get magic. You can get gold that way. I find.
Absolutely.
So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to play again, like I said, Sunday night at Genreblast with Fresh Hell, which everybody should go check out. It's after the awards at 8:30. We're doing a special screening of Fresh Hell with the big D in front of it. So I hope everybody goes and checks that out. The after party will be going on forever. You're not going to miss anything if you go check out Fresh Hell. You can still drink in Fresh Hell.
Rick Effett says everyone can not act. It's just that sometimes you want them to act like they can't. LOL. I think it works when the person is sort of embodying a fictionalized version of themselves.
Basically,
so
it's like pro wrestling. It's like the best kind of pro wrestling is the character turned up to 11. So you don't try to give them some silly gimmick. You just make it them, and then just turn the dial up and let them loose. And Brian Nuri is not a conspiracy theorist, but he definitely has some ideas about things, and that's what he wears normally. So all you got to do is just tweak the dialogue a little, and change this, change that, and just let him go wild. And he did an amazing job. So it's try not to direct them too much. Maybe like on that movie, I just was the delivery. I would make them change the delivery or an inflection, but I would not be like, all right, here's your motivation. Like, this is what would they don't need to hear that. They just need to know, how are they delivering the lines? How is this? How is that? And I would adjust accordingly to their delivery or to how they pronounced a certain word or the timing of something. And that was it. That's all I needed to do. And they got it, which is great.
Yeah. It just, when it works, when it clicks like that, it pops. I don't know how else to describe it. When you get the person and they're doing the thing in the way that you envision it, it pops and it works and it's great. So that's it. That's really, really what it comes down to. So then Genreblast Films, you got this scene brewing. I mean, you guys play also stuff. Another thing to say about Genreblast, the features are always great, but it's the short blocks, in my opinion, that are just the creme de la creme. And the reason why is because here's the thing about, and this is really true for any film festival. When you go to a shorts block at a film festival, at a good festival that knows how to program a good shorts block, you are going to basically get to go into this like anthology-like experience where everything resets every 10, 15 minutes, between 5 and 15 minutes, everything resets, right? And you don't know what to expect. If you were a person that likes to be surprised, there's nothing better than going into a shorts block and just being completely surprised by what you see, especially if you're a filmmaker, if you love seeing shit. It's like you get to watch people excel at what they're good at, and then you take notes and you're like, whoa, what a cool idea, that was awesome, whoa, look what this person did, and it inspires you. Tell me about that process.
There was one year, we don't do it as much anymore, and I know somebody will be like, boo, but we literally did all genre shorts blocks, and it was literally like a horror film, and then there was like a drama after the horror film, and then a comedy, and then a sci-fi movie. It was all over the place, and it was like literally a grab bag, and nobody knew what they were getting. I think that was a little too much for some people to take. Like, it was a little bit of whiplash. So we kind of stick to like some sort of theme for the blocks, but you're still going to get a wildly different tone. Even if it's all sci-fi films, you're going to get, one of them is going to be a sci-fi comedy. One of them is going to be a serious sci-fi thriller. One of them will be some abstract experimental film. We try to not play the same film in the same block, which I go to a lot of festivals and I see that a lot. It's like, okay, let's do our sci-fi block. Here are the 5 best films, regardless of whether they're all similar to each other, and we're going to put them in the block. And then you're like, well, that was the same as the first movie. And then there's no thought put into the curation of the block, where it's just like, they don't either think about or care that all 5 of these movies are kind of similar to each other. And I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but
that makes sense.
We like
What's
to try
up, John?
To go crazy, and just, even if we're sticking to like one, we have a block called Catnip for Weirdos, and it's like on Friday at 4:30 or whatever, and it's just a bunch of weird shorts, but they're not all bizarre WTF shorts. They're all just to have something in common, that they're all kind of weird, but they're all vastly different films that people are going to be talking about. So
that's got to be so much fun, though, that like, it's like you watch a bunch of stuff, you're like, this is in, this is in, this is in, this is in. Okay, what plays well together? How are we going to put these things together? Okay, put this in this pile and this in this pile. Do you enjoy that part of the process, or is that like anxiety driving?
It comes in stages with the festival. There are some days where I'm very happy to run Genreblast and I'm excited about programming this and that. And there are other days where, Chad and I are just like, we're done. We're fed up. This is so much work. Like, it comes in waves. Like, when it gets close to, I'll watch a really good movie and then I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to program that. But then you watch a lot of good movies in a row and you're like, oh shit, I gotta have to program all these. Like, I'm not gonna have room for all these. So after a while, it kind of gets stressful, because you're not going to be able to play everything that you really like. Like this year, there was about 50 short films at least that were outstanding that we could have played easily, that just didn't get in because we don't have the room for it. We're a 4-day fest, and unfortunately, we just don't have the room for more than, like, our template is roughly around 80 to 85 shorts and anywhere from 12 to 15 features. That's our wheelhouse right there. We can't really play anything more than that because we don't have room for it. So I know once I start getting up into the 60, 70 range of short films, then it starts to get tight. And I'm like, I'm going to have to start making some decisions here. There's stuff that's on the schedule that I put on that, like, will make it through the first couple rounds, and then they get cut either because it's too long or it's too similar to something else, or it just doesn't fit with this block anymore, even though I loved it and gave it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 9. I mean, there's 40 other movies that are shorts that are a 10 out of 10 too, basically. So at that point, it doesn't matter whether you're a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 9. It matters, do we have room for you? And are you the right fit? Are you too similar to another film? Et cetera, on and on. And it's, filmmakers will just go, well, you just didn't like my film. That's all there is to it. I mean, like, it's so much more complicated than that. And you can tell them that till you're blue in the face, but there's some filmmakers, they're just not going to get it, and they just don't want to hear it. So it is what it is.
And that's, first of all, that really speaks to the notion of, if you're telling a story or you're making a short, and let's say that your short's at like 10 minutes, but you could cut it down to 7. I know that's a really arcane sort of like number, but it's for my analogy, which is the idea that if you're looking to get programmed, this keeps happening.
Here,
Genre McBlasterson, hello.
Yes,
sorry.
I'm here.
No, the idea that if your short is 7 minutes versus say 12 minutes, and you have a 10 out of 10 and somebody else has a 10 out of 10, that perhaps your 7 minute short might have an edge up because it can fit. It's one more thing that you can fit because of its length, and has maybe not necessarily what to do with the content itself.
And you know what? Some people don't want to hear this, but this is true. It's not a secret either. Genreblast is very big on the people as well as the films. So if you are an ass bag and we hear about it, we're more likely to not play your film. I mean, we don't like the baggage that comes with you being an ass bag and an egomaniac. And those people have showed up at Genreblast before, and they don't come back because they know they're not welcome with that attitude. Because I think Genreblast, for the most part, is full of genuinely good people, and that stuff rubs off on other good people, and people that are egotistical egomaniacs that are all about themselves and what award they can win. And I'll be on the red carpet for my photo, and that's all they care about. They don't come back because they can tell that they're not welcome. That's just the way it is. We curate people just as much as we curate films.
But that's what gives things quality. Lizzie Graves says, there's a difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism, though. I agree, but I don't think that necessarily applies. Actually, Rakefet said something. She said, I've had some contact me personally to say I almost made it, but something like that came up, and it's understandable, especially when I have a longer short. Yeah, if you have a short that's like not Rakefet's short, but let's say your short is 25 minutes and it's really good, and then a fest director has to be like, I could take these 3 really, really good 7, 8, and 9 minute shorts, or this one 25-minute short that's good, but it's not as good as these 3. It's easy to weigh the scales.
I think Jackson Love, correct me if I'm wrong, Rakefet, I think Jackson Love was only about 19 or 20 minutes, right? So that's actually not that bad. Was it longer than that? I remember it being about 19 or 20 minutes. I think that's fine for a short.
I think you're correct. I've seen Jackson Love, I think 3 times now, and I want to say it's about
it's when you get to like the 30-minute mark, like the 27, 28, 29, 30-minute mark. I've watched a lot of really good films that are about almost a half an hour, and those are the ones that will get cut. Those are the ones that make it on the schedule early. And then as more and more films, me and Chad watch more and more films, we're like, all right, we're going to have to start cutting these 25, 30-minute films. And they're the first ones to go because there's not enough room for them, unfortunately. There was one in 2020 or 2021. It was called, I'll say it because it was a great film, even though we didn't select it. It was called Supine, I believe. And it was a French film. And it was just very much of that French new wave of horror where this girl, she lives by herself and she...
New Extremity.
New Extremity. She lives by herself and she taxidermies guys when she meets them and takes them back to her place, and she falls in love with them and then stuffs them. It was a really good movie. It was about 28, 29 minutes, and I just I didn't have room for it, and I feel bad because it was a really good film. But that's proof that we can't play everything. There's a lot of good stuff that just won't make it, and we feel terrible. And we remember that stuff too. So just because you didn't get into Genreblast doesn't mean you suck. It just means that this is what we had for this year. And unfortunately you didn't make it, and we're sorry.
I want to touch really quick on some memorable selections at Genreblast that I discovered at Genreblast. And then we're going to go to a quick sponsor break. I'm trying to remember the things that really stuck out. First of all, did you play a movie where a guy is a goat? It's the legend of the goat man, and it's like he's a half goat, half man.
I saw one at Crimson Screen that was like that. Have you ever been to Crimson Screen?
I've not been to Crimson Screen, but it's got to be the same short where it's
the
same tale over and over again, but it's like with this half goat man.
Oh, wow. I saw one where it was like the curse of the goat man or whatever, and the couple was being haunted by the goat man or whatever.
No.
That was really creepy. But I haven't seen the one you're talking about, I don't think.
I don't remember where I saw it then. Another one. Okay. One of my favorite shorts that I've seen at any festival. I've not been to a lot of festivals, but of all the shorts blocks that I have seen, one of the best ones was one that I saw at Genreblast. It was the weird monster kid that lives in the basement and the next door neighbor.
Oh, poor Glenna.
Absolutely, unequivocally, one of tickled me so pink with glee and wonder. I absolutely just savored it like a fine steak. So perfect. Just mwah.
It's that's like one of Chad's favorite. That if you want to know about Chad, that's his personality to a T. Is that film?
Ooh.
He loved. I mean, I loved it too, but that's him. That's him all the way. The Altruist was another one. Did you watch The Altruist at Genreblast?
What? Give me a quick synopsis.
It played in front of the movie. Did you see that?
Yes. Then I definitely saw it. The Altruist. If it played in front of the movie.
The one who got the guy who goes to visit his wife, and she's in bed. And like half of her, she's like a.
Oh my God! With the manure.
The bottom half is a monster, and she's shitting all over the place.
Yeah. Oh my God! That thing was what an insane freaking movie that was.
Wasn't that awesome?
Crap. And it was so dirty. And he's shoveling crap, and he pulls off this white bed sheet, and she's like grotesque. I mean, that's like what you go into every film. You don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what, I don't know anything about these movies apart from what Nathan, sometimes if I catch Nathan doing his spiel for Genreblast, I hear a little bit, but otherwise I go in blind, which is how I like it. I want to be blind. I want to go in. I don't want to know a thing. I want to be shocked and guffawed.
It was where Kefet saw it too. Yeah, that was it's about love. It's a love story above all, and it was just the Mount Everest of holy shit as far as movies.
And then he's rubbing off all there's stuff in the crap. There's weird trinkets or something. It's weird, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a freaking good one.
There's some doozies at the I'm glad both of you are coming, Kefet and Jeff, because
yes, I'm so glad you're coming.
Doozies. Saturday, Brian Sapanzik has his new short In the Shadow of God on Saturday.
Right. What's the what was the Compulsion? Compulsion dude.
He did Compulsion.
Love Brian.
Yeah.
Brian's awesome.
What else?
Right, the arm. Right, that was the final bit. The arm part. That was my God.
He cut his arm off. John, you missed a doozy last year with
John. It was insane.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Wait. Hold on. I'm stopping real quick. We've got to do our sponsored break. I've not attended Hot Docs in Toronto. Nathan, have you ever been to Hot Docs?
I have not been to Hot Docs, but I hear that's one to go to for sure. I would love to check it out. I love a good doc.
I love a good doc. And you know what else? You know what else I like besides a good doc? I like a sticky doc. Sticky docs are important. You know what else sticks, Nathan? You know what sticks? Stickers.
I love stickers.
And our sponsor, riotstickers.com, who sponsors the Frumess channel, they make stickers. If you need stickers, look no further than to go to riotstickers.com. Riotfest, if you'd like to sponsor this channel, you can do that as well. I'll have plenty of these bad boys at Genreblast as well. We'll be handing them out like the Joker is handing out $20 bills at the end of Batman 1989 without the poison gas. Riotstickers.com. Go to them for all your sticker needs. Description link is in the description. We're going to play our 60-second video from the guy from Less Than Jake. Hold on 1 second. Where is, by the way, apparently Less Than Jake is takes their name from a dog, but back in the day in the 50s or in the 40s, like slang to say something was Jake means that it was good, like up and up. So I kind of thought it was really cool, the idea that less than Jake, meaning it's like less than good. And it turns out that's not the case, but that would have been awesome if that's what Less Than Jake really meant. Riot Stickers.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too. Posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads. We can print on shirts. We can print on hats. We can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality.
Riot
that
Stickers.
song. Very catchy song.
Very catchy song. So now let me ask you this: as we're slowly descending our airplane here, because Nathan's got a festival to run, and I have a feature film I need to finish mixing so I can QC this bitch and get it to said festival. But now let's just turn our attention to, there's two things I want to turn my attention to. First of all, tell me about the genesis of Worst Laid Plans and how that came to be and what exactly it is. The idea, how about this? Start with the idea to transition from going from just being a film festival to being I don't know, a production company, a label. I don't know what you want, how you want to identify yourself, and yada, yada, yada. Go ahead. Tell me.
Well, my friendship with Samantha Kolesnik is one where we're always talking about what we can do next. We're always coming up with ideas as to what we can do. I think we're both very similar in that we get very restless if we just end up doing the same thing. Routine is not our friend. So, I mean, she went out and started her own press, and she was running her own film festival for a while. I've been running Genreblast for a while, started getting into writing myself. So we kind of follow each other creatively. And her writing just took off, and she did edited an anthology for Grindhouse Press, which is an awesome indie horror press, called Worst Laid Plans. And it is a anthology of vacation horror that she curated. And there's stories from Greg Sisko in there, which is a fantastic story if you haven't read it, by the way, called Summers with Annie. Just too expensive to produce for this film. Some other really great writers, Malcolm Mills, who is one of the stars of Worst Laid Plans, had a story called The Difference Between Crocodiles and Alligators, which is one of the funniest short stories I've ever read about people that like to dress up as crocodiles and alligators just banging each other at this convention. And it turns into like a fear and loathing kind of thing. So, so she picked 3 stories, one from Jeremy Herbert, one from Waylon Jordan, another very talented writer, and one from S.E. Howard. We originally started with 5 stories. She kind of decided which one she wanted to pick. She got the directors, and then she came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to produce this with me through Genreblast Films? You can do all the money and the paperwork." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so flattered. That sounds amazing. Like I get to do all the boring stuff." No, but I'm very excited to still be a producer for this, and Samantha's still a producer for it. And we're in the home stretch. It was a bit of a challenge. We ran into a couple roadblocks here and there, but we stuck with it. We kept at it. And we've almost got a completed feature film. I mean, Jeremy and John and Christopher have been working really hard getting this film finished, just like you with Gouge Away, and Jonathan Straighton's finishing up some final touches on Johnny
Yes.
Z. Justin Seaman just turned in the cut of The Barn 2. Like, it's all coming together for Genreblast. I'm so excited.
Together, baby. It's all, I love anthologies, man. That's like my favorite. One of my favorite horrors. One of my favorite types of horror is anthology horror. So the idea, all of these things, and I love the visuals that you got. The poster art is great. It was done by a book. He does book illustrations, correct?
Yes, Justin T. Coons. He usually does book covers, but he's done a couple. I think he did a cover for Vinegar Syndrome, I think.
Nice.
For one of their Blu-ray releases. But yeah, he just does amazing hand painted art. Just absolutely fun. Yes, it is in Virginia. Genreblast is in Winchester, Virginia.
Yep.
It's like an hour away from DC, right in between DC and West Virginia, up in the little point of Virginia.
And here's what's really cool. You go there, as he said, you have the Alamo Drafthouse, you have your 2 hotels situated, you got a couple of things, and then you just hang out. You hang out, and then late at night, we go out super late at night. I think we've done that twice now. We went out super late at night, and we get food and we talk shop. And that's like the best part, is just hanging out, eating pancakes and just gross breakfast food that you shouldn't be eating at 3 o'clock in the morning.
When else are you going to eat it? That's good drunk
food. And it really is. It is like, especially if you are domesticated, or you're like, you don't normally do these things. If you don't normally have these excursions, it's a wonderful time. But in any case, so yeah, you got the poster art's great. Trying to think what else. And now I mean, there's so many moving parts to having 3 stories. Everybody's got to be kind of on the same page in terms of like where everybody is. And then, I'm sure there's QC issues of making sure everything like is mixed in a way where everything feels, like seamless. And, it's just, is there a wraparound, Nathan?
There's no wraparound.
Ooh.
We're just like going like 3 extremes, which is my favorite anthology.
It's a good one.
It's just the 3 films. We have a cool little transitions, little interstitials between each sequence. But this is it. These are 3 segments. They stand on their own. We don't need a wraparound. We toyed with the idea of doing a wraparound, but a combination of not having enough money and not having enough time, we were like, we're not gonna try it, and then we don't have a finished sequence. So we're like, we have 3 strong segments on their own. They're done. They're finished. They're good. None of them suck. So we're just going to go with these 3 and have them stand on their own. So we're very excited for people to see this. They're all very different stories too. None of them are similar to each other. That's the bonus. That's the strength of this.
I have a feeling that's just going to keep happening. Sorry, we jumped out of the session for a second. Go ahead. Say what you rewind.
Okay.
Rewind, Nathan.
Oh no, I was just saying the segments in this movie, this film are very unique to each other. None of them are the same. None of them are alike. So I think we're going to have a really good festival run too, because this is a unique horror film and it's not your cookie cutter, slasher, ghost story, whatever. This is all very unique. And I think festivals are going to be impressed with it.
For sure, dude. For sure. I think so too. From the very little that I've seen, I'm salivating and honored that my film is going to play right after.
We're your lead in, right? Is that right?
No, I'd say I'm the cleanup. You are you guys. I'm going to clean up after you guys, and I'm honestly, it's an honor for me. It's an honor. It's an honor to not only be at Genreblast, but to have my movie play at midnight on Saturday, which is for my whole life. I just wanted to make a movie, a midnight style movie. And my movie is literally playing at midnight. And I just can't think of because that's what I like to do is I want to do something that's midnight. It's not quite horror. It's just weird. I just want to make weird shit. And that just sort of wraps it up. And down in Florida, one of my favorite films of all time, The Forbidden Zone by Richard Elfman, is also playing at midnight at the exact same moment at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and he's going to be there in person with it. And like the synergy of here's a movie that I discovered in 2005 in the used bin blind buy at Sam Goody. I saw it. I saw Frog Butler on the back and I said, I got to know what this movie is all about. And now my movie is also playing at midnight when that movie is playing at midnight. It just blows my mind. It's it's a distant parallel, but it just makes me feel good inside is all.
It should make me feel good. It's exciting.
It feels really good. And like I said, I'm really honored, and I wouldn't want to have my premiere anywhere else but at Genreblast. And so I'm really glad that has happened. And you guys, you and Reagan and Chad and your whole team and all the hard work you guys do. It's awesome. Friggin' awesome, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your hard work. This is a Herculean task that you are assembling this movie. A lot of people would have just said, screw it, I can't finish it in time. And they would have just quit, or they should have do it. But you did it. That's amazing.
It's cool, man. It's pretty cool. But let me segue because we got to wrap up here. And I want to talk. The last thing I want to talk about is actually something that interests me quite a lot more than it previously did. So Nathan's a filmmaker. He's a festival director, but he also is a writer, and he writes screenplays. But in particularly now he is also, I don't know how you want to identify, you're a novelist. You are a writer novelist, or how does that, what's the proper,
I just like to say
that
writer. I'm a writer. That's my number one.
He's an author.
That's my number one jam, is writing stuff, whether it's screenplays or books or whatever. That's my thing. I'm a writer. I'm not really much of a filmmaker. I like to make a short film here and there,
But you've made if you've made a film, you are a filmmaker. It's just maybe you're not
sure
primarily a filmmaker. I mean, you're a producer. You produced a feature-length film. That makes you a filmmaker. Okay, so you're a filmmaker.
Okay, I'll take it. But yeah,
you will take it. But
writing is my thing. If someone was like, gun to your head, what do you pick? I would pick writing, like, over everything else, because that's what I like to do. That's my outlet. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I should have started this earlier, because the response to this book has been really good. But I've been writing since I was a kid, writing short stories. And when I got older, I got a little bit aimless and not sure what I wanted to do. And then when I was in the Army, I started writing screenplays, because I realized I could just start writing screenplays. I thought you had to be in a club to write screenplays, but no, you can just write screenplays. So I got obsessed with writing screenplays and becoming a Hollywood screenwriter. And when that didn't pan out, I mean, I still write screenplays, but I mean, trying to become a Hollywood screenwriter, those days are gone. Like, they don't exist anymore. Like, getting that $500,000 payday from landing a screenwriting deal, it just doesn't happen anymore. So I got a little bitter, and I was like, well, what do I do now? And then I realized I can turn some of these screenplays into books. And then I went to Scares That Care with like Samantha and John and a couple other people. And I saw all these indie publishers selling books at tables, and I was hearing about all these submissions. And I'm like, you know what? I'm such a moron. I could have been writing this for the indie press all along. Like, I could have been publishing books, and I didn't realize that I could do that. And it kind of makes sense. If there's an indie film world with all these film festivals, of course there's going to be an indie horror book world, indie genre books. And I was like, next time I come back here, I'm going to have a book. And so during the pandemic, I finished Love Potion 666, turning it from a screenplay into a book. And I guess it's like a long novella, short novel. It's about 47,000 words. I think a novel is supposed to be 50,000 words, so it's just short of an actual novel, but it's close enough.
Can you tell them what the second chapter is in the book, assuming that it's not too much of a spoiler? I love this title so much. It grabs me to no end. I've fallen in love. It's what Nathan gave me a copy to read. Like a beta reader sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what pulled me into the book, what sold me and said, okay, I want to keep reading this, was the title of the second chapter. What is that title, Nathan?
The Inevitable Death of Leanna Forsythe.
Yeah, baby. That just, to me, and it was, and I said this to Nathan today, right before we got on. I was telling him, and I was like, and it's true. I'm making a film right now, and I put chapters in between all the scenes or whatever. And I was totally inspired from seeing Nathan doing it for his book. And the idea that reading his book showed me the power of how you can set a tone by putting a title before you write the thing, and how you can even lead back to the title after that scene is done. You finish the scene and then the title makes sense. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And It's just a wonderful framing device that I just had no idea even existed until I saw, that inevitable death idea. I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that's so cool to be able to see that in your film too. So I think chapters absolutely work for feature films. It makes them more, I think it makes them more immersive.
It really does. And I guess, all right, a synopsis of Love Potion 66. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. There's so much shit that goes down. It's like, yeah, you go ahead. You do it.
The center of the movie, the crux of the movie, of the book, is there's a blood feud between a mother and a daughter.
Right.
It's been festering for a long time, and it's about to blow over, and all hell's about to break loose. They just resent each other for a lot of things. The fate of the patriarch of the family, just them stealing each other's men and women too, and just fucking each other over for all kinds of reasons. And it's just, one's a sociopath and the other's a psychopath. So like, how do you reconcile that. Like, and the sociopath has made the psychopath the way she is, and vice versa. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of kind of doom, where
It's
this
also
mother,
taboo. It's
yeah,
taboo.
it's also taboo, you know. And it sounds like a Jerry Springer episode, but it's a little bit more, I don't know, like
Oh boy.
it's very 90s, that's for sure. I mean, like, I have a list of movies in the back of the book. I don't know if you saw that. Where
I did not know, it was not in the thing you sent me.
it's going to be a theme. Like every book I do at the back, it's going to have the list of the movies that inspired it. So you got California, you got True Romance, Natural Born Killers, The Serpent and the Rainbow, The Way of the Gun, like every like 90s crime film like that's worth anything inspired me to write this, plus The Serpent and the Rainbow from the 80s. So it's, you know, voodoo and zombies are in it, but it's not the main plot of the film, the book. So people, when they write a review, they're like, I didn't know zombies were in this, like, because I don't give it away in the back of the book or anything. So the zombies kind of just show up, and people are like, holy shit, there's zombies in here now too, like, and voodoo and terrible people. This is like 3 for 1. So
Terrible People is great, but the thing that the real hook for me for reading it, if you decide that this is something you want to check out, by the way, I put the link, people, it'll be in the description as well, Love Potion 666, but it's also in the chat. But what really sold me the hook, the idea that you have this, what I mean when I say the word taboo, it's the idea that, like, generally mothers and daughters, they may not like each other, but they don't want to kill each other.
mm-hmm.
So the idea, like this idea of like inevitable death that's going to happen is kind of sets a framing of, like, it's like foreboding. It's this foreboding thing that you have to race to the end to find out how and why. I have to know why, and that's what's kind of like driving you throughout, you know, the book and whatnot. And you know, I said this to Nathan I did a quote on the back of the thing, and I really truly believe this. It also feels to me, and this was my own personal opinion, the book feels very much like a Greg Araki movie. And if you are down
like
with
the
Greg
Doom
Araki,
generation, yeah,
Doom generation, man, that he also did Nowhere. Dude made so many wonderful films. Did Totally Fucked Up, The Living
Mysterious
End,
Skin.
Yeah, Mysterious Skin. He is a phenomenal filmmaker, and I very much feel that sort of vibe. So it's a smattering of so many things and more. And what is next? Do you think are you cooking? Got anything cooking right now?
Yeah, you know, I've got always got something cooking. Genreblast is a lot of work, and it takes up a lot of my time. So right around this time, I pretty much just let Genreblast consume me body and soul. So there's stuff that I would love to write, but right now I'm like, I can't. Like, I'm just keeping up with the emails alone with Genreblast.
Yeah.
It's just my head hurts right now. So as soon as Genreblast is done next week after, then I'll get back to writing. I've got like 3 books I want to finish. So I'm hoping to get at least 2 of those finished by the end of the year.
Damn.
So yeah, you'll see more. One of them is like this crazy showbiz satire mixed with like cosmic horror, where this guy, he's our age, he's a former child star. He was on a huge sitcom, like TGIF style sitcom in the 90s with him and this other kid. And there's a huge scandal that broke out on the show, and it got canceled. And he kind of just wanders from like shitty horror movie to like reality TV show to make ends meet throughout his life. And he finds himself at this convention one day, you know, at this podunk convention, and this slick director who says he's a filmmaker comes up to him and says, I've got a screenplay. This screenplay was made for you. It is gonna get you back, like Travolta style, back in the good graces,
right? Pulp Fiction style, yeah.
And you know, at first he's skeptical, but he takes the script home, he reads it. It's like the greatest thing he's ever read, and he's like, if anybody else gets this role, I'm gonna kill them. And so he agrees to do it. And the guy is like, all right, cool, but there's one condition. The people the people I work for say that you have to go through this method acting course, and you have to start it, and you can't stop it once you start it, and you have to complete it. And once you complete it, you've got the role. And it is the most bizarre Cronenbergian, David Lynchian, Fight Club, weirdo, cosmic horror method acting course that it just gets more bizarre and more sinister as it goes on, and it brings up all this crazy stuff that happened to him in the past and what happened to his co-star, this other child star. He had a grim ending, and it just gets weirder and weirder. In the
All
end,
right, I want to read that one too, Nathan. You've sold me. You sold me at 90s sitcom former star. I am
there's
definitely
a
intrigued.
lot of minutia about 90s movies and TV shows. I made up a whole bunch of fake TV shows and movies and wrote reviews about them. So they're in the book. So it's like the prologue of the book is like a fake movie review that this guy was in, like this PG-13 action comedy that bombed, that has like Ted Danson in it and Jim Belushi, and he was like supposed to be the next like Michael J. Fox, and it bombed horribly, and that's one of the reasons why he's not in Hollywood anymore. And that's like, it's just written like it was written like in Variety, but it's a fake movie review, and I have a couple of those in the film, in the book. So those were a lot of fun to write, like Eddie Murphy and Mel Gibson and Fast Kill from 1994. Did you know that they were in a movie together?
I see. That's I don't. It's very Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but in a really good way. Like that's what, like it's like this idea of like being so obsessed with film and 90s and pop culture stuff that you want to like emulate and create your own fictional version of these things, because it just and it appeals to a very small group of people in terms of like
I wrote it for like Jeremy Herbert and Mike Lombardo. They're the only two that are going to get it.
right. Like they're going to like understand all of the nuances. Nathan J. Caboose, who, by the way, funny enough, for some reason, I thought your screen name was Nathan J. Caboose. I forgot that it was my friend Nate Dogg. Oh. And I got very confused. I confused the two Nathans. He says, you got to come back to promote the book when it's ready. Of course, more than welcome to do so. Would love to have that. Nathan wants to read your book as well.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's the next thing I'm going to finish. When Genreblast is done, that book is the next thing on my list. It's about halfway finished right now.
You know what the cool thing that I actually find intriguing? I'm a writer too. I mean, I write screenplay stuff, but not like novel stuff. But what I do find intriguing about the idea of writing a book is you know, if you've ever made a movie by yourself or with a very small group of people, it's like in the bare minimum, you need two people to make a movie. If you're not like an animator or if you're not starring in the thing, like you need outside forces to create your art. The beautiful thing about writing is that you grab your word processor, whatever it may be. You say, hey, I'm going to the coffee shop. You go off and that's it. You're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. The thing is happening. And when you're done, when you get to the end of the book and you've done all your rewriting and whatnot and your revisions, there it is. That's the thing. It's done. I didn't need $25,000. I didn't need a cinematographer. I didn't need a sound mixer. I didn't need to do production design. I didn't have to request off work to, work on the weekend, to do this thing on the weekend. It's like, no, you just do it and you do it by yourself. And it costs nothing to do it. I mean, essentially, obviously it costs time. Time is money, but you know what I mean? In this world that we live in, where we're trying to create without resources to do so.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to just get out there and make a movie for $500 and just something that's just a script and really good actors and a cool concept that doesn't need a ton of effects. I would love to just have a crack at that. That's the one thing I haven't done yet that I would like to do is direct a feature film that's a success and that's any good. As far as me directing one, that would love to do that. That sounds like so much fun and a lot of work. But that's good.
It's a lot of work, but let me tell you, it is so fulfilling. And here's the thing about when you make a feature film, whether it's good or bad, it's your child in a way.
You've given birth to it. Absolutely.
And you love your children for no matter what they look like. You just love them unconditionally because you made them. And,
everybody has a favorite, even though they're not going to admit it. If you have more than one, this one's my favorite right now. Maybe it changes.
Right. But that's, yes, it is something. And I'll say this. One thing I will say, if you do make, I see a lot. I've been seeing a lot on Twitter. I follow a lot of micro budget accounts, and all of these guys. And we'll wrap up with this because we both got to go. We really got to go. You always see this thing like, oh, I got to make a movie in one room with two people, and it's like that's everybody fucking does that, and it's really fucking boring. Instead,
you got to have some really good fucking dialogue to take place in one room for 80 minutes. Like, you got to have the best fucking dialogue ever, and that never happens.
It never happens. And so if you're making a micro budget movie, I think you have to do the opposite. I think you need to put, or even if you're not, even if it's whatever, if you got a couple grand, if you got $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, you have to put as many locations into that motherfucker as possible. Do the exact opposite.
Just shoot it guerrilla
style. Load
style.
it.
Yep.
Just shoot it guerrilla style. Load it up with locations. That's what's going to make your micro budget film stand a chance out there in the world, instead of, I keep seeing it's the same advice over and over. Do it 2 people in one room. It's like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe you do it once, or maybe you do it as a short, but like, I mean, you can't, how many films you're going to do where you do 2 people in one room?
How long do you want it to be? Like you're going to have them be in the entire room the whole time. Like, you better have the best screenplay and the best actors you can find. And it doesn't matter if you shoot it on a red, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That a movie like that better have the best story, the best acting, and the best screenplay I've ever seen. Shoot it on a iPhone. It doesn't matter, at that point. Just have a good story,
Yeah. And and the thing is, if you are shooting guerrilla style, you can shoot on an iPhone. You could walk into IKEA and use IKEA furnished bedroom demos and shoot a whole movie in there, and no one's going to bat an eye because you're on an iPhone, and your movie is going to be way cooler than if you shot on a red in a fucking room.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And it's overkill too. You're going to have a red to shoot in a room. That's it. Like, it's like,
or even a black magic. Like,
just
come on.
Just go get an iPhone or a prosumer camera, an HVX, a Panasonic HVX or whatever.
Oh, God.
If you're going to just shoot in a room with I don't know, I want to get into a huge tangent or a rant, but like, I would much rather, I know film is a visual medium, I'm aware of that, but I would much rather see a movie shot on a VHS camcorder with a great script and great acting and a great story than a movie shot on a red that has just a generic plot, generic acting, a story I've seen a billion times. That does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. And I see a lot of that stuff through the film festival. Technical aspects are solid, as film critics in the 90s would say. Technical merits are solid, but there's no story, or there's a very cliche story. The acting is wooden and lifeless, and the dialogue is just as bad. And it's like, you have all this budget, you had all this money for all this gear, and you didn't. And it's usually like, I don't want to throw shade on some directors. I'm not talking about you, but the screenplay was written by the director, and the director's clearly not a good writer. Work with a screenwriter. Find someone to rewrite your script. You know what I mean? I mean, you're a good writer, but there's some directors out there that are just like, I'm going to do everything myself, when they don't have to. Really, do you really have to do everything yourself? There are screenwriters out there that would they would sell their mother, to be able to work with the director as a screenwriter. They'll rewrite your script. They'll write a script and then direct your script. Some people are just better at directing than writing, and that's just the way
they're invested. And here's the thing: it's true. If you have someone who's that creatively invested, I always say this. I always say no one's going to give as much of a shit about your movie as you. But if you have someone that creatively invested, then it'll be 2 people that give a shit as much, because nobody gives a shit as much as the creator does. Nobody ever. It just doesn't work that way. Like, everybody will care, everybody will do the thing, but nobody is going to crawl on glass on your hands and knees the way the person who created or birthed the thing will. So if you have someone that's sharing that burden, it's not a bad way to go, I think.
No, not. So. And you guys can be creative partners. A director and a writer, you can both produce. It's even Stevens. There's nothing wrong with that,
It's true.
just make sure that you're cool with the person. You know, don't just jump into bed with the first person that you meet that's a good writer. Make sure that you have a bit of a rapport with them, like at least, you know, it's kind of like dating someone. Like you can't just jump
And
into
get
bed right away.
everything in writing.
You know, get
right?
everything in writing, or you're going to end up having the
Everything
pantsuit off of
down.
you. Exactly. Prenup. Get a writer director prenup. You know.
Yeah, big time. Listen, Nathan, this was so much fun, and it is so hard to stop at 1 hour and 10 minutes. But I think we should pat ourselves on the back because Nathan and I have spoken for hours on digitally, and so to pull out, I said, Nathan, an hour-ish at most, and here we are.
We're gonna talk for hours of Genreblast. I can't wait.
We will. We're gonna do that thing we did last time, where we like up till whatever.
After your screening, we'll go to the Waffle House and we'll
coffee chug. Got to do
jam.
a coffee chug.
Absolutely.
Yes, we will.
We'll try not to drink too much so I can drive everybody to the Waffle House.
Right. I have room in my car. I'm a designated driver too, so I'm
awesome.
Good to go.
We'll do. We should do a post show, wherever it is after Genreblast.
Abso-fucking-lutely, we should. I would be very down to do it right from a cell phone, man. You do it right from a cell phone. Yeah. All right, I'm feeling froggy about that. All right, listen, we're gonna wrap this up, guys. Links to get your weekend pass at Genreblast are down in link. I already got mine. Go out there and get yours, man. And I got to tell you, as far as sometimes like a festival pass for a whole weekend could run you $150, $200. It is so the value you get for 4 days of movies. It's unfriggin' real, dude. It makes it, doing that with the hotel, it makes it very affordable if you're traveling, you know.
Yep. You don't have to pay for Lyfts or Ubers. We pick you up. If you're flying, we pick you up from the airport, so you don't have to pay for that. So you save money. You just get your hotel, get your airfare, and then you're good to go, buddy.
There you go. So check all that stuff out. Thank you again, Nathan. We're going to be hanging out real soon. I have something I need to get to you ASAP. It's coming. I promise it's coming. We always say peace and hair grease. So we're going to do that. We say peace and hair grease. And we'll see you at Genreblast, where we can have all of the flavors. Hashtag all of them.
We keep
all of them.
We keep the light on for you at Lamplighter Motel.
At the Lamplighter Motel, you can get a